Lonely CEO heard "May we have your leftovers" from twin little girls. Then he saw the eyes. The city outside pulsed with its usual rhythm, horns blaring, neon signs flickering, streets alive with laughter, footsteps, and hurried conversations. But inside the upscale restaurant, time seemed to move differently. Soft jazz played in the background, candles flickered on every table, and waiters moved with quiet precision. At the farthest corner, near the window overlooking the skyline, sat Adrian Cole. His tailored suit was immaculate, his wristwatch worth more than most people earned in a year, and yet his eyes carried something money couldn't hide: loneliness. He was the kind of man newspapers called a genius, the kind who had built an empire from nothing, the kind who could sit in boardrooms and silence men twice his age with a single sharp word. To the world, Adrian Cole had it all. But in truth, he had nothing that mattered. He was on his third glass of wine, pushing around food he didn't feel like eating when it happened. A soft, hesitant voice broke the silence. "Excuse me, sir, may we have your leftovers?" Adrian froze, fork midair. Slowly, he turned. There they were, two little girls, no more than 9 or 10, twins. Their identical faces were pale under the restaurant's golden lights, their hair tangled, their dresses too thin for the chilly night. But what struck him wasn't their clothes. It was their eyes. Big, wide, filled with hunger, not just for food but for something far deeper. The kind of hunger no child should ever carry. For a second, Adrian couldn't breathe. He had heard many requests in his life: business pitches, loans, partnerships, but never something so raw, so painfully human. He cleared his throat. "Where's your mother?" The girls exchanged glances as if deciding whether to trust him. Finally, one whispered, "At home. She's sick." Adrian's chest tightened. The words landed heavier than any boardroom battle he'd fought. Sick. At home. Two children, standing in an expensive restaurant, asking strangers for scraps of food. He pushed his plate toward them. "Here," he said softly. Their small hands reached forward, trembling. But something inside him rebelled at the sight. These weren't dogs scavenging for leftovers. These were children. "Wait," Adrian said, standing. His chair scraped against the marble floor, drawing stares. He ignored them. "Sit, both of you. You're not eating scraps tonight." The girls blinked in disbelief as he guided them to the table. A waiter rushed over, frowning. "Sir, is everything all right?" "Bring them proper meals," Adrian ordered, his voice sharp with authority. "The best you have, now." The waiter hesitated. Two shabby children in a place reserved for the wealthy, but one look from Adrian silenced him. Soon, steaming plates of pasta, bread, and soup were placed before the twins. The girls didn't wait. They ate quickly, almost desperately, as if afraid the food might vanish if they slowed down. Adrian watched silently, something breaking inside him with each bite they took. When their plates were empty, he leaned forward. "Tell me about your mother." "She used to clean houses," one explained softly. "But then she got sick. She can't work anymore. We try to help, but—" Her voice faltered and tears shimmered in her eyes. Adrian swallowed hard. He had sat in million-dollar meetings, faced ruthless competitors, but nothing had ever made him feel so powerless. That night he walked them home. The neighborhood they led him to was nothing like the world Adrian knew. Cracked pavements, dim streetlights, shadows lurking in every corner. When they stopped at a crumbling apartment building, his heart sank. Inside, the smell of dampness clung to the walls, and there, on a thin mattress, lay their mother, pale, frail, coughing weakly into a rag. Her eyes widened at the sight of Adrian. "Girls," she whispered, her voice raw, "you shouldn't trouble anyone." "They didn't trouble me," Adrian said gently, kneeling beside her. "Ma'am, you need help." She tried to smile but failed. "We managed somehow." But Adrian saw the truth. They weren't managing at all. The following days became a turning point. Adrian sent doctors to examine her, arranged for medicines, and quietly made sure the rent was paid. At first he kept his name hidden, but soon the girls figured it out. They would greet him with shy smiles whenever he visited, slowly letting laughter return to their lives. Yet it wasn't easy. Their mother resisted. One evening, when Adrian brought groceries, she looked him in the eye. "I don't want charity," she said firmly, her voice stronger than her frail body suggested. Adrian paused. For a man used to commanding armies of employees, the word no rarely came his way. But here it did, and it mattered. "It's not charity," he replied carefully. "It's a chance. A chance for your daughters to have something better. And maybe," he added quietly, "a chance for me too." She studied him for a long time. Then she whispered, "Only if you promise it's for them, not for your guilt." Adrian's throat tight. "For them," he swore. "Essex for means." Weeks turned into months. The twins Lily and Grace began to blossom. Their cheeks gained color. Their laughter filled the small apartment, and their eyes, those eyes sparkled with a hope that hadn't been there before. Adrian found himself changing too. He no longer ate in silence. Evenings that once ended with wine and loneliness now ended with drawings made by the twins, stories about school, and the warmth of hugs that felt more valuable than any $1 million deal. But change brought challenges. Whispers began among his business partner. "Cole's distracted," they murmured. "He's wasting time." Some investors even questioned his priorities. One board member confronted him. "Why risk your reputation for some strangers?" Adrian's reply was simple yet final. "Because for once I want my life to mean more than money." The biggest challenge, however, came one rainy night. Adrian received a frantic call. Lily and Grace's mother had collapsed. He rushed to the hospital, his heart pounding. The doctor pulled him aside. "She's stable for now, but her condition is serious. Without long-term care, she won't make it." Adrian's world shook. He had the power to save her life, but what terrified him was the thought of what would happen to the girls if she didn't survive. He sat beside her hospital bed, watching her fragile chest rise and fall. For the first time, he admitted to himself, he wasn't just helping them out of kindness. He needed them. When she woke, he whispered, "Fight, please. Not just for them but for me too." She looked at him, eyes tired but soft. "You've already given more than I ever dreamed. But if I can't stay, promise me one thing. Don't let them feel alone." Tears stung Adrian's eyes. He nodded. "I promise." Her recovery was slow but steady. Adrian spared no expense. Specialists, therapies, everything. And slowly she regained strength. It wasn't just her body that healed, but her spirit. One evening, as the sun dipped low, she sat with Adrian on the balcony of her small apartment. "You know," she said quietly, "you've changed too." Adrian chuckled softly. "How so?" "You used to look like a man who had everything but nothing at all. Now you look like a man who finally found home." Adrian didn't reply, but deep down he knew she was right. Months later, after a school recital where Lily and Grace proudly performed, the girls walked hand in hand with Adrian. They stopped suddenly, and one of them looked up at him. "Do you know why we asked you that night?" Grace asked. Adrian smiled. "Because you were hungry." She shook her head. "Because you looked lonely. Just like us." The words hit him like a thunderclap. Out of everyone in that restaurant, they had chosen him not for his wealth, not for his suit, but because they recognized the same emptiness in his eyes that they carried in theirs. Adrian's heart swelled. He knelt, pulling them both into his arms. "You saved me too," he whispered, voice trembling. From that night on, Adrian Cole was no longer just a seed. He was proof that sometimes the richest people are the loneliest, and sometimes the poorest can give them the greatest gift of all, love. Because empires are not built with steel and glass. The greatest empires are built with trust, kindness, and the courage to open your heart. And all it took was two little girls asking for leftovers. In a world where people often look away, sometimes one moment of compassion can change not just someone else's life, but your own. The CEO thought he was rescuing two hungry children and their sick mother, but in truth they rescued him from loneliness, from emptiness, from a life without meaning. So when you see someone's eyes, really see them. Don't ignore their silent plea. You never know. They might just be the ones who save you too.